say this. It's something that'll change the world and human life as we know it.
He knows. He's seen the light.
When Monty talks, it's painful.
Monty, you have been so instrumental in kind of pointing me in the right direction.
It was about looking at your character defects in spirituality.
It's the integration of clinical practices with the 12 steps.
It's an absolute pleasure. He certainly knows a lot of people. He's got a lot of energy. And sometimes when you don't have so much energy, he picks you up and carries you.
Having the Monty man there certainly helps.
This is one of the places that is about the business of the solution.
The views expressed on this special broadcast of the Take 12 radio show do not necessarily reflect those of KHLT Recovery Broadcasting or its affiliates. KHLT is not affiliated with any particular 12-step fellowship.
Now here's that guy who's getting less popular minute by minute. Your host, the Multi-Man.
Really? Getting less popular? Well, that's probably more than likely true. Welcome to another episode of Take12Radio.com on your internet dial. Welcome to all of those listening on the internet on our website. Welcome also to those of you who are viewing and listening on our YouTube channel, our social networking sites, and on the Bill Post Radio Network live streaming in Oregon, and all those listening worldwide. Welcome to another excursion into the world of recovery. Welcome to Take 12 Recovery Radio. My guest today is Misti B. Misti. I love saying Misti. She is a phenomenal author of a book called If You Leave Me, Can I Come With You? This is an awesome book. This is about codependency and all the weird stuff that we do as codependents. Now, listen, if you're an alcoholic or an addict in recovery, an addict is a broad term because we do paint it with a broad brush. There's all sorts of addictions out there. But listen, if you're one of those and you don't think you're codependent, well, that's just part of being codependent, right, Misti?
The laughter says it all, yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, Misti contacted me here some time ago before I got so ill over a year ago, and we haven't been able to get her on the show, but I'm so glad that she is on the show with us. Listen, let me ask you a question, folks. Have you ever awakened in the middle of the night and rehashed a conversation that happened yesterday or even years ago? Well, this happened to me. This happened to me last night. Let me go a little deeper. Have you ever stalked someone online? Now, you know whether you have or not, at work or at home, or found yourself, check this out. Have you ever found yourself in the trunk of a lover's car so you could be close to them? Now, I haven't gone that far, but I followed people before, years ago when I was in college. I stood in front of a person's house in the rain, looking up at their window, wondering why they wouldn't be my best buddy. Misti, I was really, really sick. Welcome to the show, Misti.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
You've done a phenomenal job with this book. Misti writes humorous books about life in recovery. Writing If You Leave Me kept Misti's mind busy and allowed her to shine some light into normally very dark spaces, particularly in her own life. And the website is MistiBWrites.com. That's correct, isn't it?
Yes, that is correct. It's also Lightstepper. LIGHTSTEPPER.com.
And if you're listening on the Take 12 Radio website, you can follow the links there. If you're not, go to Take12Radio.com and you'll see the links to Lightstepper and MistiBWrites.com. Okay, Misti, first of all, for those who are listening, particularly for those who are listening on the Bill Post Radio Network, who may not know, first of all, can you give us a brief description of what codependency is, and then tell us what Al-Anon is?
Sure. So, codependency is one of those words that it's been so sort of abused and overused that I used to kind of get a hairball when I went through it. It's like, oh my gosh, codependency. But basically it's a lot of us. But the clinical term I don't necessarily have in front of me. I could Google it while we're talking. But basically, it's just an unhealthy desire for to have other people sort of be your higher power. So it's seeking joy, happiness, peace, love, tranquility, whatever it is in other people, places, or things. It's essentially being cut off, from your higher power and God, and looking to people or things or places to be that what kind of your spiritual center. And with codependence, most of it is about relationships. So it could be, you could have a codependent relationship with a family member, a spouse, a friend, a colleague at work, or, you could be codependent on, I guess, your animal. We can find pretty much anything to fixate on if we're codependent.
Oh, absolutely. Wow. Don't tell my wife about being codependent on my dog. Because she'll.
A lot of people are.
Oh, probably yes. I can admit that. So it's there's a lot of control issues there, right?
Oh yeah, and now as far as Al-Anon goes, okay. So I knew codependency. I've got all the books. I mean, I love Melody Beattie, who has been the pioneer in really bringing to the lay people, and of which I am one, a lay person, what codependency is all about. And yet, at the same time, I think it got kind of to the point where in our culture, people sort of took it like it didn't really mean anything anymore. But it's really serious. It's really serious. And so when I heard about codependency, I sort of just, I read the books a long time ago, like 20 years ago, and then I thought, well, I've dealt with my codependency, not realizing that it is very serious and it goes with you unless, especially if you've been in a relationship or been affected by alcoholism. It doesn't just go away.
When you say affected by alcoholism, you don't necessarily have to be afflicted by it to be affected, right?
Exactly. So that's, for me, where Al-Anon came in. So, my history is I came from a family where everybody was an addict. So somebody had to come out of, somebody had to be the savior, and that was me, of course. So I was self-appointed savior of my family and kind of the universe. I just came out as a control freak, and everybody else was so out of control. Somebody had to take the reins, and it was me. And that is very typical of codependence. It's a way to try to manage life and manage other people, basically. So I had read a lot of books on codependency and thought I had kind of handled it. And then about, say, 10, 15 years ago, I did go to a 12-step related group that had to do with codependency. And for me, I wasn't really, I guess, ready to hear the message at that time, and it really didn't speak to me in the way that it has this time around. And I'll be having my 5th birthday this next month.
Oh, wow.
In Al-Anon.
Yeah.
Yay, me. Yeah. Yay, I'm having a cake.
That's right.
What happened for me was someone, literally in the book I talk about how someone said to me, there's an Al-Anon meeting on 3rd Street and Lincoln, and they didn't take me. They said, you need to go. Don't call me again. I'm done with you. I mean, that's really how severe my Al-Anonism was, and I will share with you, my experience of what happened. So my experience was that, a friend told me about Al-Anon after I had just ended another relationship with an alcoholic. And because I always liked fun alcoholics, so my relationships were with fun alcoholics, not crazy alcoholism like I grew up in. And so I didn't really think I was an Al-Anon. I sort of pictured Al-Anon as being, a bunch of nice, sweet, white-haired old ladies and then, knitting and sitting in the room and standing by their man. And I wasn't used to, like, the controlling, shrieking kind of Al-Anons, And when I went in, I discovered people just like me, that just had to have somebody else or something else be their higher power. And, yes, I joke about the controlling nature of an Al-Anon, and it is in reaction to trying to keep the world afloat. in Al-Anon, what I discovered was that it wasn't about blaming the addict. It wasn't about blaming anyone. It was about making my life better and connecting and having a real spiritual experience with a God of my own understanding, and that relationship, and a relationship with myself. And at first I thought, oh, this is so corny, a relationship with myself, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
But it really is true. Until you can, be comfortable with yourself and have that, priority, your spiritual priority first, you can't really have fulfilling relationships with other people.
Isn't that the truth? Isn't that the truth? Now, I'm going to play devil's advocate just for a second, okay? Over the years, I've gotten emails and letters from people, friends and family members of addicts, alcoholics, etc. Some of them have been very encouraging about organizations like Al-Anon. But once in a while, I'll get one that says, I went to an Al-Anon meeting for the first time, and it was all about lose the loser. And I just want to say, and I think you'll probably echo this, you may run into that, just like you may run into an AA meeting or an NA meeting or even church or whatever, where they're not focusing on what's really going on. That's just human nature. That happens. Don't let that stop you from continuing to go. True?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So one of the reasons why I wrote my book was because of that. Actually, I am so blessed. I mean, I walked into a strong, solid, 12-step, sponsor-based, service-based meeting in the Los Angeles area. And that was the first meeting I walked into, and these people were happy and laughing, and I thought there was something wrong with them. Why are they so happy? Why are they laughing? And so I am really tremendously blessed to have amazing recovery. In fact, I talked to my sponsor just about 15 minutes ago in Al-Anon, and the group that I'm involved with, very much 12-step oriented, and service-oriented and sponsorship-oriented. And so I have, it saved my life. So for me, when I travel, I've traveled to places and gotten exactly what you just talked about.
Mm-hmm.
So I've walked into a room, and it's just been, people are unhappy and miserable. And when I find that, what I discover is because they're either not working the steps, in my opinion.
Right.
They don't believe in sponsorship. They think they can do it on their own, or they can figure it out themselves. And they're using it as sort of a dumping session, a therapy session, if you will. Now, I believe in therapy. I think therapy is great. It's amazing. There is something about being in a group of your peers and people that understand you and have had your experience, have gone through it, and are on the other side, and that will love you if you call them at 1 a.m, at 4 a.m, and there's something about that is so healing, that power of community that we are missing, and that you do miss in therapy. So I just wanted to say that part of the reason why I wrote the book is because I went to a meeting in northern area, state above you. I won't say what it was, but it was a state near you.
Okay.
and everybody was so miserable, and I just looked around the room. Well, first of all, there was only 3 people, so I kind of thought, wow, this is not right.
Wow.
Every meeting I went to in that area, the Al-Anons were, the AA were up front having a great time, and
right.
the Al-Anons, were meek and mild in the back room, like shoved in these kids' seats up against each other, and just like, oh, poor me. And I was like, this is not my thing. I am not this Al-Anon. And I thought, these people need to, well, of course I thought what these people need to do, because I'm an Al-Anon. I think I know everything, but
yeah.
I mean, I really thought they need like some humor. They need to laugh a little. It's not this dire, and it's also not about the alcoholic. It's totally about me, my relationship with a higher power, my relationship to the world. And when I get that straight, the other stuff works itself out. But I really wrote it because I thought, there are people that don't have the blessing that I have of great fellowship and a great recovery, and maybe they'll pick this book up and get a little sense of humor, or they'll feel connected in some way. And that was really what it was. I just said, I want to have an act of service And I just started writing, and it kept coming and kept, more was revealed over and over. And I just thought, gosh, I got to make this fun because it's enough of the tab.
Yeah. You got to make it fun. And we're going to talk about it. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, let's talk about one of the reasons that this book was birthed. It was out of the frustration that you had that there wasn't any humor that was in literature form within the codependent circles versus the other circles of recovery. So when we come back, we're going to talk about that more with Misti B, author of If You Leave Me, Can I Come With You? 365 daily humorous meditations for Al-Anons and Codependents. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
He's a little crazy, but then again, you already knew that.
I got in like 3 fights when I was in grade school. All 3 of them were with the bully. We all know who they are. They're always a little bit bigger, they kind of smelly, and we duke it out. And after he beat the snot out of me, I'd say, you come back tomorrow and I'll give you more of that.
It's the Bill Post Radio Show. Bill Post Radio Show. Weekdays at noon.
You see, she was gonna be an actress, and I was gonna learn to fly. She took off to find the
footlights. Guys, remember that Taxi by Harry Chapin? Harry Chapin, what a great artist. He was one of these guys that wrote ballads and sang ballads, author of Cats in the Cradle and so forth. But yeah, she was going to do this, and I was going to do that, and we were going to live happily ever after, and da-da-da-da-dee, and da-da-da-da-da. And we're going to talk about music and the codependency roots of music in so much of her songs here in just a minute. But before we do that, Misti B is my guest, author, If You Leave Me, Can I Come With You? 365 daily humorous meditations for Al-Anons and Codependents. So Misti, you were a little frustrated, right? Because there was all this humor going on and recovery tapes. I mean, one of my board members is Mark Lundholm, who's probably the #1 recovery comedian in the world, and he is amazing. But you didn't find any humorous material that had been in print for people who were codependent. True?
True, correct.
Yeah.
And yes, my desire to write the book was because I have probably 3 or 4 meditation books that are Al-Anon. And, while I love a good story and I love the spiritual guidance that I get from them, I just felt like there was nothing kind of humorous about Al-Anon. Mm-hmm. And my particular group that I go to, we have a great sense of humor. The people in it have a great sense of humor. But when you go online, and I'm not lying, I started, because I met with a friend before I started to write the book, and I said, I have an idea. I want to do this kind of a funny meditation book. And she said, well, she said, that sounds like a great idea. And then I went, oh, certainly somebody's already done it. I'm sure there's 500 of them. So I went back home, and I Googled humor, Al-Anon, codependent, funny, all those words. Nothing. There was nothing. I mean, I don't think we have the reputation for being anything other than party poopers. And I thought, well, this is either a really good sign or it's a horrible sign, that there's no literature, nothing with a sense of humor for Al-Anons. Why don't the alcoholics get all the fun? So it sort of started out with kind of a, wait a minute, and then it kept, it became really important, I thought. And then I started, like I said, I was doing some traveling to other meetings and noticed that the humor was sorely lacking. And I thought, well, maybe it'll be of help to them. And so I am a writer, and I've made somewhat of a living at some points in times, however much money a writer can make from their living, from their writing. Mm-hmm. And I thought, well, if nobody's going to do it, I guess I have to. So
wow.
I did.
Well, let me pull some of these out of here that I just really loved, and these again, folks. There's 365 of these, so one for every day of the year. What I think is really cool is kind of like in like devotionals and thoughts for the day and that kind of thing. There's the topic, and then and at the bottom of the topic there's like the closing meditation or whatever. You've entitled that "In Spite of Myself" at the end of each one of these, which is really great. This one is called "Playing God." It says today is Play God Day. And I thought that was every day, but anyway, it says
what day, Monty? I'm sorry. What day is that? What day?
That's actually for January 9th.
January 9th. Okay, I'm going to go to it.
Yeah. It says today is Play God Day. There is no official information on the origination of this holiday, but let's not let details like that keep us from participating. You go on to say, I rather enjoy playing God because I'm reasonably good at it. Yeah, me too. I know all about world cuisine. I'm familiar with classical and modern literature, Socrates, Shakespeare, and nearly anything Oprah recommends. And I'm an exceptional judge of character. As for style, my sorority awarded me with the title of most likely to make Emily Post jealous. But enough about me. Play God Day is the perfect way to do good for others, which is what we Al-Anons love to do, unless other people get in the way and screw things up. To commemorate Play God Day, do something that will make a positive difference in someone else's life. It could be something simple like visiting a family member who's ill or helping a neighbor. You can start small. For example, last year I reupholstered my sister's hideous orange tweed couch while she was at work. Oh my gosh. And my friend had the exterior of her mother-in-law's house painted while she was away on vacation. I even had to have a friend who spent the day pretending he was a doctor, but that's not recommended. What is recommended is that you honor the fact that people need help. They just don't always know it. But don't let that hold you back, because today you have permission to be all-knowing and all-powerful. But I'll bet you already had a lot of practice at that. In spite of myself, I love playing God because I'm so good at it.
I'm laughing at my own material. Is that bad?
Oh, no, it's not. You know, one of the things that I do on occasion, because I'm so you know, I'm all I think about all day long, right, is I'll listen to one of my shows. And my wife she gets a kick out of it because I'll start cracking up and she'll say, I can't believe it. You're laughing at yourself. But we gotta, let's tell the truth here. You know, sick people are pretty funny, aren't they, Misty?
I think they are. I think they are. I think they are. That's why I'm here to help. You know, that's what I want to do is help you, Dickies. And,
yeah, that's right.
Obviously, this was written tongue-in-cheek, and, you know,
oh, yeah.
The point is that, you know, having a sense of humor about where, you know, where your defects are and what you do is what I think is healing. But, you know, all these things, like, you know, most of us Al-Anons, you know, we know how things should go. We know how things should be run, and we're happy to help you do it. And if you don't screw it up, it'll probably get done right. I mean, the best thing is going into one of my Al-Anon meetings because my group's pretty, like, they celebrate everything. You know what I mean? Like, summer solstice, winter solstice, they do everything. One of the best things is sitting at one of these meetings when we're planning, like, the 50th dinner party. Talk about crazy. A bunch of Al-Anons trying to, you know, put together an event. I mean, it can get really tense, and because we all know what's best. And so I just, you know, some of it's more serious, some of it's more tongue-in-cheek, and obviously this is that one. You know, it's
right.
Why not make fun of ourselves? And I think that might be. You can stop me, but I think that might be why alcoholics, you know, sometimes can be a little bit, I don't know, standoffish towards Al-Anons, because I think we kind of we're like mean school marms or the hall monitors, you know, like,
yeah,
don't have a sense of humor.
Yeah,
and I want to change that single-handedly.
And you mentioned that in the interview that I listened to with Dr. Judy, the hall monitors of life, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, here's another one. February 13th. This one's entitled Done. And I'm sure anybody in recovery can identify with this question that you start out with. You say, you're still going to those meetings? My friend asked impatiently. You broke up with that alcoholic and life is better. Aren't you done with Al-Anon? And then you go on to say, the first time someone said that to me, I paused. Were they right? Was I done with recovery? I'd done a lot of 12-step work, and my relationships were going well. Life was good. Actually, life was great. Maybe I am finished with Al-Anon. I thought to myself one night after leaving a meeting, I think I've got things squared away. Maybe I don't need Al-Anon anymore. The next morning I got up and went to work. I had a few meetings for a new project that I had to drop some clothes off at, the dry cleaners. I had to stop by the DMV at lunch, and I remembered the reason why I go to Al-Anon meetings. I have a problem with other people. Not all of them, but many of them. In fact, lots of them. In Al-Anon, I've learned that my reaction to other people is what creates the majority of my problems. The solution I get in Al-Anon is a spiritual connection to a higher power and a better way to live. It's a continual action I need to take, a daily reprieve, and I need the constant reminder that I don't have to do life alone, no matter how recovered I feel. Yep, I'll keep coming back. In spite of myself. The next time I think I don't need Al-Anon, I'll just open my door and go outside. I love that. I mean, we could say, well, the next time I think I can do this on my own and not need God, I'll just try doing it on my own. Wow. Well, and so there's humor in this one too, but this one's a little more serious because, just when we think that we've got it all wrapped up in a bow, it all comes, unraveling, right?
Yes, exactly. Yes, exactly. And, just because it's the daily reprieve part, and just, like I was sharing with you before the show, just today, I had to call, I had to call my sponsor because
right.
I live in LA and we had a traffic situation, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, I was the problem. And I'm like, gosh, Misty, you're going on a radio show to talk about like recovery and you're still acting like a jerk. What is your problem?
I know.
And I called my sponsor and she said, that's okay, honey. Well, she didn't say that's okay. She said some other things. And then
yeah, right.
It's okay now, honey. There was a bigger part that I won't share with you. But, basically, it's people, It's my reaction to life. And I think that's what I want to impart in the book, in the funniest way possible, is that, it's been my reaction that causes me. My big foot and my big mouth is what gets me in trouble.
The big book. Go ahead.
No, that was it.
I would say the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous says something to the effect of we think our problems of our own making. And I was listening to Chris S., who's the director, the chairman of the board of directors for Take 12 Radio, who's one of the number one most downloaded speakers in the AA circuit world. And we're doing a program called Recovery Life out at Oak Creek Christian Center in Albany, and we were listening to this speaker tape. And he was talking about that. He says, one of the things we got to quit doing is trying to figure out all the problems and issues that we bring on ourselves. Why everybody else is the ones at fault behind those. Because we do, man, we got to try to pin it on somebody. How in the world could we be that crazy, right?
Yes.
Oh, gee.
My group, like the group I kind of know well in recovery, kind of likes to say, what's better is that we're so crazy and we didn't even need to pick up a drink.
Right.
I can go absolutely insane on my own. I don't even need a drink or a drug.
Wow. Boy, aren't you Al-Anon's lucky? You can just, flip out without any kind of substances. Oh, gee.
Definitely cheaper cheaper dates on that.
Yeah. Here's one, June 27th. This one is entitled Bad Day. Check this out, listeners. I had been talking nonstop about how bad my life was. Problems galore. Money was tight. Work was hideous. My love life was fruitless. My sponsor finally broke in and said, just because you're having a bad day doesn't mean you're having a bad life. But what if I have a string of consecutive bad days over a long period of time and it adds up to a bad life? I whispered back. I figured that would shut her up, or at least garner some sympathy. Okay, she responded. I want you to keep track of how many bad days you have in a row, and when you get old, give me the list and I'll let you know if it adds up to a bad life. Surprisingly, I didn't have a retort, so I agreed to her silly request. I started keeping track of my bad days. Unfortunately, there have been a few really fantastic days in the midst of my otherwise depressing life since I started keeping track. So I can't confirm I'm actually having a bad life. Yet, at least not today, but there's always tomorrow. I am keeping track. In spite of myself. A bad day doesn't equal a bad life. I love this because there is so much codependency in this. I started keeping track, so I can't confirm I'm actually having a bad life. And here it comes. Yet, I'm keeping track. I love it. This hits home so. This is so poignant for me. It blows my mind. You know, God has gifted you in a way that you really bring this across. You help us to see our codependency, and it's palatable, but it's firmly true at the same time, Misty.
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was hard won. It was hard won, these stories. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I really had to work hard to screw up my life so that I could write this book. And every story is true. So, yeah, all these really stupid things I actually did do. But,
right.
You know, that's what we learn. As my sponsor would always say, you know, and of course I really wanted to, like, you know, kick her in the shin when she was saying it, but she would say things like, you know, honey, you don't know what your experience, how it's going to help somebody else someday.
Yeah.
And that was kind of a lot of time what sort of compelled me to keep going. But thank you for the kind words, because I feel like, gosh, you know, I may as well be doing something.
Yeah, well, you're very good at it, folks. We take our second break here. When we come back, let's touch on the music industry just for a minute. I get a kick out of this. We will be right back. More with Misti B, the author of "If You Leave Me, Can I Come With You?" Don't go away. Serenity Springs Recovery Center, located on the beautiful east coast of Florida. A unique facility that is committed to providing exceptional individual care in small group settings while utilizing their experienced and dedicated clinical and support staff of licensed therapists and doctors. Visit their website, serenityspringsrecovery.com, or call 386-423-4540. Serenity Springs, making a life-changing investment into your recovery.
We understand that having a loved one caught in the grips of an addiction is a powerless position to be in, and we understand this on a very personal level. We have been there ourselves. Our own families have experienced exactly what you are feeling now. The good news is we are here to direct you in finding a way out. We are Freedom Interventions, providing the direction necessary to get the help for your addicted loved one. Your family has specific needs. We can determine the best approach for your specific circumstances. If an intervention is needed, we will provide the direction required to safely and effectively accomplish the goal of recovery for all. To begin the recovery process for your loved one, call toll-free at 888-762-7557. That's 888-762-7557. And visit our website at freedominterventions.com. Freedom Interventions, providing drug and alcohol interventions and a continuum of care services to clients and their families.
I feel the earth move under my feet. I feel the sky.
Get down, Carol, with your bad self. Yes, indeedy. Boy, I'll tell you what, when people would walk into my life and walk out of my life, boy, would I feel the earth move under my feet one way or the other. Either they fulfilled my expectations or they did not. And either way, I wasn't happy. Let's talk just a minute about music, because this just cracks me up. The interview that I saw with you with Dr. Judy or listened to, you guys touched on Chicago, which is one of my favorite groups. The song "If You Leave Me Now," and the verse in there is, "If you leave me now, you take away the very heart of me." And I'm reminded of songs by Barry Manilow, like "I Can't Live Without You," "I Can't Dance," "I Can't Sing," "I Can't Smile," "I Can't Do Anything." There's so many. We're gonna listen to a little soundbite when we come back from our last break. Just a couple seconds. Steely Dan's "Big Black Cow," which is about guys, you're doing all this stuff. Just get out of here. And it goes on and on and on. There is so much. We can laugh about it, but we're inundated. We're bombarded with television shows, songs. I mean, 90% of the songs that Manilow and the Carpenters did were all about, oh my gosh, you're just tearing me apart, or you're just building me up, and not that there's anything wrong with recognizing pain that is in your life, or recognizing how people have really helped and benefited your life, but to let that control whether you're okay or not with yourself can kill you, can it not, Misty?
Well, I would say yes. People think that, Al-Anon and Codependency, which just to kind of clarify something, Codependency is a part of Al-Anon, and they're both, for me, Al-Anon is what really addressed my problem, more so than just codependency.
Right.
Because it really followed the 12 steps, and not all codependency groups do. And that's fine if that's what works for other people. I'm more of a hardcore case, I guess.
Yeah, me too.
And that I needed Al-Anon. I needed steps in it. And not like I'm not, saying that the other ones don't. I'm just saying for me that's what I needed, the structure. But it will kill you. You know what I mean? It's just as serious as an addiction, because it's this constant seeking outside of myself. And not all Al-Anons are the don't take the car, you'll kill yourself variety, where they're running after their husbands in the street, or stalking people. Not all of us are that way, but there are other things that we do that can be just as destructive. And the end result is separation from our God, and separation from other people, and separation from ourselves. And it's very serious. My need for approval, to get other people to love me. I shared this before, but I'll be in a room full of people and convince myself within 30 minutes that they are going to vote when I go to the bathroom to kick me out. And I don't even know why. It's just that sense that I'm an outsider, that I'm not a part of, and I need something outside myself, usually a person, to make it okay. And, that is the nature of this dis-ease. It's just not a normal relationship with self and with God. And it's very powerful. I'll share a short story with you. My sponsor talks about a woman that she sponsored for a very long time, and the woman, was with an alcoholic and kind of left her kids to be with the alcoholic, and the kids were not happy, and there was no relationship. She came into Al-Anon, and my sponsor said to her, here's what I recommend that you do in order to make amends to your kids. And it wasn't a real specific thing. It was actually to to give children at once a week these ice creams to the kids in her little neighborhood. There's like 3 kids. And she said, that's all I want you to do, just to make that amends, just a living amends. And the woman refused to do it. And she said, like 10 years later when she was dying of cancer, my sponsor went to see her and she said, this is what holding on to my resentments has done to me.
Ooh.
That's pretty dramatic and unfunny, but it's the reality. My resentments will kill me just, it will take me down just like a drink.
Yeah. It sure will. It's there was a book that came out a while back that was passed around in the church that I attend. It was called The Bait of Satan. And it intrigued me, just the title of it, and so I picked the brain of some folks that had read it and then got it myself later. And you know what it was about? It was about that very thing. It was about resentments and putting expectations on people. That was the bait. And whether it's church, Rotary Club, Boy Scouts, AA, Al-Anon, any service organization, when you watch people that gather together and meet on a regular basis, sometimes we meet too often, one of the biggest things that you watch happen, if there isn't a healthy relationship going on with its members, is the blossoming of unhealthy expectations and the forming of resentments that will kill an organization, a fellowship, a church, a family. It is the bait of the devil himself. I really believe that. Man. And so what we do is we and see if you don't concur with this, is we don't follow what Bill W., the co-founder of Alcoholics Anonymous, deemed as the next frontier: emotional sobriety.
Absolutely.
Learning to be okay with who we are, regardless of how other people respond to us.
And I think that's sometimes where the bridge between Al-Anon and AA, that doesn't get. The bridge doesn't get crossed. I don't know.
Yeah,
What's the term? The bridge, the gap, whatever.
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah.
Not together, we're not holding hands, is in that emotional sobriety. There's like a lot of us and them. You talked about that earlier. And, I definitely am a them, and not codependently, but in a good way. Want to hold, hands with the alcoholics because we all need to be on the same page. It's not alcoholics over here and Al-Anons over there. And that kind of divisiveness just really is more of the same. And we really have to work together, because emotional sobriety is critical to I really believe that if you're doing the steps and doing the work, you will achieve emotional sobriety. It's
Me too.
Not about just not drinking or not, being in a relationship with an alcoholic. It's about me living my life with integrity in every area and having a connection with my higher power and being of service. And if I'm poo-pooing another group or calling them less than or whatever, judging them, that's not sober. That's not sober for me or for them.
Even if you're right, yeah, it's not healthy to blame, is it?
No.
It's not. Here's one. This is from September 6th.
Okay.
This one is called Devices. Al-Anon talks about what happens when we are left to our own devices to figure life out. Before Al-Anon, my own devices included a combination of behaviors such as being rescued, mind reading, sulking, controlling, and if those don't work, breaking things. The funny part is there were plenty of well-meaning people giving me indicators about how ineffective my own devices were. Some gave me verbal hints or threw me looks. Some had their attorneys send me cease and desist letters, but it didn't deter me. Oh, that cracks me up. I won't go into specifics, but it took something pretty big to lead me to the conclusion that I'm better off when I let my higher power take the lead when it comes to my relationships. Each day, I turn my will over and ask God to show me who He would have me to be. I don't rely on my own devices anymore, which is good because they don't work. So I'll be replacing them soon with more elaborate, expensive devices, which I'll no doubt have to spend hours setting in line outside the Apple Store waiting to buy. In spite of myself, I'll let my higher power manage all my devices today. Oh, wow. One of the things that I get from your writing is how well you kind of answer your own issue, but then you bring back into focus, but I know I'm still, dealing with this stuff. Mm-hmm. That comes across loud and clear. And I think that, I do believe in the state of being recovered from a seemingly hopeless state of mind and body, whether it's codependency or alcoholism or narcotic addiction or whatever. But I also know that if we are not forever vigilant, that just as the good book talks about, just as a room swept clean, that the problem will come back 100-fold. Mm-hmm. And I think you make that very clear in your writing. As humorous as it is, this is a serious, serious illness, is it not?
Oh, absolutely. And again, that's, it's not lofty necessarily, and that's because sometimes when I read meditation books, it would feel to me that's so lofty. I'm not that girl. I can't do that. No way. Yeah. And I sort of felt a little disconnected. And then the other ones were just so depressing. It was like, oh my God, I just want to kill myself. Not literally, but I was just so depressed. I mean, and there are times when those really deep, powerful stories are important, and I need to do that work. I'm not poo-pooing that. But there are also times when, look, I can't aspire to this today. And I just felt that a story of somebody, and I think also a lot of the meditation books that I've read, it's kind of a compilation of different people's stories. And, because of course it's all about me, I'm sure everybody wants to hear they want to spend 365 days with me. So that was a joke. I just started writing them, and things would come to me and other things would come to me. And, but what I wanted to do was have it be really transparent. Yes, I do believe people can be recovered. I don't think that it is static and it's changing. And, for someone, in my opinion, for me, I need to hear the truth. I need to hear that my sponsor still, gets mad at her husband or, hangs the phone up on him after 30 years. And she doesn't do it often because she is kind of one of those saintly people. But she gives me hope. But I also know that there are people behind me that when I tell my real stories, they get something from it because I'm being authentic. And so that's kind of what I wanted to do with the book, was just to be really authentic and have a sense of humor about it, and also take a little bit of the intensity out of it. Of some of the meditation books, and then, I mean, that's really was the point of it. Well, you also just kept me busy.
You've done an incredible job, and I get a lot of books sent to me. I pick up a lot of books, and it's kind of funny because one of the things that I absolutely was not good at in school was projects involving reading. I didn't like it. I wasn't going to do it. No. And then I ended up being a journalist. And I mean, if you're going to be a journalist and you're not going to read, you're not going to get too far. And so God has some humorous plans for our lives. But I'm so glad that I am doing what I'm doing, because I get to have the opportunity to experience really gems like this. It really is, and it's not often that I say that about a piece of literature. You have done just an absolutely phenomenal job with this, folks. I encourage you, particularly if you don't think you're of the codependent variety, I really want you to pick this up. because you may just learn something, and you're going to have a good time, and you're going to be able to laugh at the same time while learning something about yourself that's invaluable. It really is. This book just doesn't tell you that you may have some issues and just leave you there. Within these pages, you're going to see some solution as well. I really highly recommend this. Now, Misty, people can get your book on Amazon, and
yes, they can.
And can they also get it through your website?
Well, actually, you can't. Right now, I'm not set up to take it on my website to take PayPal, but you can go onto Amazon and purchase it on Amazon. There's a print version, which I recommend, but I love print. There's also a Kindle version. And, if you get it and you read it and you like it, I would love to have some reviews on Amazon, and I really appreciate you taking the time. It's called, again, If You Leave Me, Can I Come With You? 365 Daily Humorous Meditations for Al-Anons and Codependents. And, so right now, it's at Amazon. And, Monty, I was going to ask you, I was thinking of reading something. Do you mind?
Absolutely. Go right ahead.
Okay. So I would want to get your opinion.
Well, we can take our last break. Let's come back and do that, okay?
Great.
Okay, folks, don't go away. Hey there, it's the Monty Man from Take 12 Recovery Radio, introducing a brand new recovery television series, Time to Heal with Pam. Breaking the chains of addiction. Broadcasting on Treasure Valley Community Television in Boise, Idaho. Time to Heal with Pam is a recovery talk show focused on the psychological, emotional, and spiritual aspects of addiction. Its mission, to deliver the truth that recovery from alcohol and narcotic addiction is possible. Tune in Sundays at 10 a.m. and again at 7:30 p.m., as well as Monday through Friday at 8:30 p.m. Mountain Time on Channel 11 TVC TV, Boise, Idaho. Or visit the website at tvboise.com and click on the Watch Live banner at the top of the page. Not from Idaho? No problem! Go to the YouTube channel and type in Time to Heal with Pam in the search bar. Watch all episodes 24/7. That's Time to Heal with Pam on TVC TV, Channel 11, Boise, Idaho. Get out of here. Just go take that big black cow and just go. Just go and but take the keys, because you'll need to get back in. Oh, Lordy. Heaven help us. All right. Misti B, author of If You Leave Me, Can I Come With You? 365 Humorous Daily Meditations for Al-Anons and Codependents. A great book. The cover is wonderful. It's got a jet plane taking off into the sky. And there's the author holding on for dear life, totally recognizing the fact that when this plane lands, you're not going to make it, but you're still holding on. Great stuff. Great stuff. So, okay, Misty, you have something you want to read to us as we close out this show.
Okay. Well, I thought I'd read a little bit of something called Hope. So this is from the book, and the date is November 29th, and it's, again, the title is Hope. So it reads, Our lives, no matter how battered and degraded, will yield hope to share with others. The Al-Anon Promise. Hope is cool, I thought, when I heard this at a meeting, for other people. But what I need right now is an answer to my problems, people. Screw hope. By the time I got into Al-Anon, hope was just some corny ideal. I'd convinced myself that things just didn't work out for people like me, and I was more comfortable riding the dark horse of despair, even though I didn't even ride horses. But if I did, you can be sure it would have been a dark one, and a despairing dark one at that. As time went on and I developed a relationship with a higher power, I started to believe in the remote possibility that things just might work out. I began to hope for a bigger, better life, and most importantly, I began to believe that I had a loving higher power that really was on my side, and that maybe I might have something to offer and share with others. Then things really began to change. I took a dance class and voice lessons, and I learned how to ride a horse. I became an expert at solving cryptograms, puzzles consisting of short pieces and encrypted text. This, my friends, is what hope can do for you. Maybe you should give it a try. In spite of myself, today I'll make a list of the things I just might hope for.
Wow. Wow.
So
that's great.
Was a little bit about hope.
That's great. That's great. You got one more? You got one more you'd like to read to us?
Oh, do you want me to do one more?
Yeah, just do another one.
Is there one you like, or?
Distractions, December 18th.
December 18th. All right. Let me flip to that. It's a good thing I bought copies of my own book, huh?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. This is December 18th from If You Leave Me, Can I Come With You? Distractions. I'd hit bottom. I was sitting in my nephew's loaner pickup truck, formulating my plan. I would run a garden hose from the exhaust pipe to the front seat, hit the play button on my iPod, and, well, you can fill in the blanks. The problem was I couldn't remember if the truck had a catalytic converter, which is what releases carbon monoxide, according to my uncle. At least that's what I thought he said. Also, since I'd lost my home and no longer had a garage, I was terrified of someone interrupting me, or, God forbid, some poor kid discovering my listless body in a public garage. Also, I didn't have a garden hose. So I drove to the Goodwill in search of a hose, and that was when the miracle happened. I noticed a gorgeous silk suit in exactly my size, and then I saw an almost new Burberry coat. Burberry for $10? I was at a crossroads. The suit, the coat, or the hose. I couldn't afford them all. If I was dead, I wouldn't have any of them. I sat down on the floor and cried. And then a clerk came over to me and took the hose out of my hand. It wasn't for sale. He wiped my tears and whispered, "I'll let you have the suit for $1, but that's a Burberry, honey. I can't go any lower than that, than 10. I now know there's a God in heaven who's not finished with me yet, because for a moment I had a glimpse of life with that suit and the coat, and in the end, they won. I took myself and my new used clothes straight to an Al-Anon meeting. In spite of myself, there's a God, and he's not finished with me yet."
Wow. Yeah. Boy, isn't that amazing how that worked out? Because that's a true story.
It is a true story.
Yeah. Oh, my
It's a
goodness.
true story, and I laugh now, but, when I was in that truck, I wasn't laughing.
Yeah. I get it. Ah, what a great show. What a great time with you, Misty. Will you come back and do another show with us at some point?
I would love to.
Tell the listeners when your book signing is and where it's at.
Okay, great. So I will be at Vroman's Bookstore in Pasadena. It's on Colorado Boulevard in Pasadena. I think it's 655. You can go on Vroman's Bookstore, and that's spelled DROMANS books.com. Or it could be bookstore. It's one of those two.
Okay.
They are also selling the book, but I will be there for a book signing in Pasadena on Colorado Boulevard at Vroman's Bookstore, August 31st, Sunday at 4 o'clock.
This is so right on. Good job, Misty. Good job. Any plans for any future writing?
Yes, actually, I have my second book, which I'm going to be. It'll be launching at the end of August or September. It's called "Forgive Us Our Debt," and it is humorous meditations for debtors, under-earners, and compulsive spenders.
Oh boy. We're gonna definitely have to have you back on the show, but I won't be able to be here. I don't know if I can handle it. Oh, that's great. That's great. Well, let me know when that comes out, would you please? I'd really like to. Will. All right, Misty. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. It really has.
Oh, the pleasure was mine, Monty. You're just such a. I listen to this station online all the time. I get downloads, and so I'm really rooting that you keep going and plug away. And it was great to be here, and this was really fun. So I appreciate your time, and I hope you have a great rest of the evening.
All right. Great. Thank you for the kind words. Don't hang up. Stay on the line. Folks, the two websites, lightstepper.com as well as MistiBWrites.com. And you can follow the links right here on our page. And remember, if you miss this show, you can go to the YouTube channel and watch it anytime. You can go to the archives and listen to it. You can download it. We have an MP3 download available for you as well. It'll be on the Bill Post Radio Network. It's all over the place. So we have just an enormous amount of listeners that listen to the show. Please feel free, make a copy of this, burn it on a CD, give it to somebody, and get this book. Please get this book. If nothing else, you're going to have a great time laughing at yourself, and if nobody else, laughing at somebody else. If you leave me now, can I come with you? Author Misti B. Folks, until our next broadcast, this is the Monty Man along with Misti, and we are wishing God's perfect serenity for you. Bye-bye now.
This has been a broadcast of KHLT Recovery Broadcasting.
Kitty, 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 kitty.